Today, we're diving into a controversy that has resurfaced all the way back from 2017. Timothy Heller, former friend of Melanie Martinez, released a TikTok about how when she released a statement about Melanie Martinez and how she SA'd her coming out and telling the world that ruined her life. And if you know who Melanie Martinez and Timothy Heller are, then you probably know what happened. But if you don't know, we're going to go over what happened in 2017 all the way to now. Timothy Heller was a singer-songwriter and she was friends with Melanie Martinez. She had a song on Spotify that did fairly good, getting over 1 million plays, and she has a YouTube channel with over 9,000 subscribers with some more of her music on there. And during 2017, she was inspired by the Me Too movement to release her statement of her former friend allegedly essaying her. And I'll have that statement up on the screen here. Just pause it if you would like to read the whole thing. But basically, the TLDR is that Timothy said that she was coerced by Melanie, and that due to their close relationship, she felt manipulated and overpowered and struggled to confront the reality that her own friend, someone she loved, SA'd her. Melanie Martinez became popular after being on the show The Voice, which was the catalyst for her music career. This allowed her to grow a YouTube channel of over 15 million subscribers, where till this day she gets over millions and millions of views on any single video that she posts, and as well as her Spotify, which has a song on it that's almost at 1 billion plays. Melanie responds to Timothy's statement saying, "I am horrified and saddened by the statements and story told tonight by Timothy Heller. What she and I shared was a close friendship for a period of time. We came into each other's lives as we were both starting our careers as artists, and we tried to help each other. We both had pain in dealing with our individual demons and the new paths we were forging. But I truly felt we were trying to lift each other up. She never said no to what we chose to do together, and although we parted ways, I am sending her love and light always." And one key point about this statement that a lot of people had is that she said she never said no to what we chose to do together. And anyone that knows anything about consent, not saying no doesn't imply that you consent. Consent must be clear and affirmative. It requires a clear yes. Silence or lack of resistance does not equal consent, because there might be many reasons why somebody would say no. For example, fear or confusion, or just being in a state of not being able to express yourself fully. And some people that have trauma in these situations will freeze up and not do anything. That doesn't mean that you have consent. There should not be any form of pressure or manipulation when it comes to these type of situations. And there's actually a great video about this. It's called Tea and Consent. And basically, if someone says they don't want tea, you don't go and make tea for them and then shove it down their throat. If they're unconscious, you don't give them tea while they're sleeping. If they don't want tea, don't make them tea. And while all this is alleged, Melanie saying that right there just gives us a sign of how she views consent. By the way, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below saying hello. And if you haven't yet, please go follow me on my new Instagram account, chaz.kirschman. We're currently at 65 followers. This is a fresh account where I post pictures of me, my cat, and just whatever else I'm interested in. I'll no longer be posted on my other Instagram account because it has a lot of dead followers and I'm trying to start fresh on Instagram. If you'd like to follow me over there, I'll have a link in the comments down below as well. And there were a lot of people during this time that did not believe Timothy. And one of the reasons was because she had this tweet pinned on her Twitter advertising her new song. Now, it's important to note that this pinned tweet was posted there on October 19th, and it took her all the way until December 4th for her to make the statement that this happened to her. So it's not like she made the statement and then pinned this song to her Twitter. She did this 2 months ago and then worked up the courage to make this statement. But one of the things that really solidified that Timothy was lying for a lot of people was this.
I made the mistake of doing an interview with Daily Mail. While being interviewed, they asked for more specific details, like when the incident took place. It'd been around 2 years prior, so I didn't remember the exact date. What I did remember was a picture I took the next day. I went back in my camera roll, found the picture, and told them the day of the incident was the day before. Unfortunately, I was wrong. The picture in my camera roll appeared multiple times. I can't explain why. When the interview came out, her fans went back in her posts to that date to find that we were in different states.
So according to Timothy, she accidentally looked at one of the pictures that was duplicated. It had the wrong date. Fans linked this up and thought that she was lying, proving that she wasn't really with Melanie. But at the time, no one had the context that that photo was duplicated and she accidentally chose the wrong date, leading to a lot of people thinking that Timothy was lying. This then resulted in Melanie releasing a tweet saying, "I understand how hard it could be to see my side of the story, considering no one with a heart would want to invalidate anyone speaking speaking up about this topic. I want to thank my fans who took the time to research the timeline, analyze past Instagram photos, and question the story being told, which reveal her false statements. I trusted so many people in my life who took advantage of that trust for their own personal gain. Please know that my intentions with everything that I do in my life are always pure, and I would never be intimate with someone without their absolute consent. And this is when it would begin to get difficult for Timothy, because she claimed that people were hacking her accounts, saying some pretty crazy things. And these tweets where she said she got hacked included her saying the N-word, and as well as some pretty messed up drawings where it says true art is about controversy. Then people would come out claiming that they knew Timothy or knew things about Timothy. And 5 years ago, Edwin actually released a video talking about this situation, in which he makes some pretty good points.
There were some people that pretended that they knew Timothy that spoke against her, but these were faked. People faked accounts pretending to know Timothy to try to discredit her.
So this post by a Chris Carrillo says, as you can see, and I confirm this to you, Timothy never denied what she did with Melanie the night of 2016. I'm telling you this because I'm friends with one of Timothy's closest friends. Timothy was planning to use this from October to reach more people and take advantage to promote her single.
So it turns out the entire story from this Chris was entirely fake, and this person just randomly disappeared without confirming anything that was stated in this post. But enough people believed it and they just ran with it, and then they forgot about it, but in the back of their mind they thought Timothy is a liar. And from Facebook to Twitter was an account called Sarah Morgan. They claimed to know Timothy for about 2 years and had a washed out picture with Timothy. Someone asked them if they could provide proof of Timothy's lies, and they replied by saying they'd do it once they hit 1,000 followers so more people would see it. The user deleted their account after Timothy said it was fake and they were using a stolen photo of her and her actual friend. Then someone else took a video of their conversation on Facebook with Timothy, except it wasn't actually Timothy, but rather another fake account probably made by the person who filmed the conversation to make Timothy look bad. Ladies and gentlemen, a smear campaign.
So according to all this, there was a lot of people trying to make Timothy's life a living hell. And I want to point out that it's never okay to start hacking somebody's account, harassing people because you think that they're lying about a situation. In fact, I think that both parties should be listened to respectfully and without bias. It's important to listen to the accuser's account without judgment and also consider the accused response as well. And when it comes to the survivors of these type of situations, it's important to support them in order to create a culture where people feel safe when they come out about these situations. So that way people could speak up without fear being dismissed or blamed. And also it's important to understand that there is no perfect survivor. Trauma can affect memory and behavior, and just because there's inconsistencies in a survivor's story doesn't mean that they're lying. Trauma can impact how memories are processed and recalled, leading to some survivors getting the facts wrong. But that's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Edwin would then go to make another interesting point in his video talking about how everybody put a magnifying glass over Timothy's life, but no one really looked into what Melanie was saying, and that she had a boyfriend too in this situation.
I found it curious how fans and YouTubers alike would pick on Timothy's past with a magnifying glass, but didn't treat Melanie's past with the same type of scrutiny. How about the fact that Melanie herself had a boyfriend during the time of these acts? Nobody talks about that, huh? Timothy said that at the time of the allegation, not only did Timothy have a boyfriend, but so did Melanie.
Yes, my boyfriend was out of town.
Oh, so she was dating someone when it happened?
Both of our boyfriends were out of town. Yes, we both had boyfriends.
And if you'd like to watch Edwin's full video on this, I'll have it in the description down below. And just to drive home that people were posting fake things, there was this edited photo where it says 9 minutes at top, but on Instagram, it doesn't show 9 MIN. It just says 9M or just M after the number. But whoever photoshopped this didn't know that. And they tried to make Timothy look like she was obsessed with Melanie. And there were people that came forward and supported Timothy on Twitter, with one person saying also something similar, not R, happened with me and Mel. She begged me over and over again to sleep with her, and I finally gave in. She wore me down. I said yes, but it was not the same with Timothy. I will support Timothy Heller till the end. Another person says, this is the last thing I will say on this topic, as some people are misconstruing my messages. I've made the decision to stand with Timothy Heller based on non-physical experiences I have had in the past. My words around the issue represent my personal experience. experience. Another person would go on to say, as someone who was friends with Melanie and experienced the way she treated people and myself included, I stand with Timothy Heller. Thank you for Timothy. And it's Stella Rose for speaking up. And in recent events, Timothy released a video talking about how making this statement ruined her life.
Speaking out against my abuser ruined my life, and I'd like to talk to you about it. I'm gonna be reading something I wrote. It's not particularly well written, but I just needed to collect my thoughts. Whether you know who I am or not, I ask you to please listen to my story. If you do recognize me, then you haven't heard from me in a couple of years, and that's because I was effectively run off the internet. You also may have heard that I admitted to lying or that it was proven that I lied. Neither are true. Speaking out against my abuser ruined my life. Here's how we got to that point. During the Me Too movement, I chose to speak out against a former friend who had essayed me. I was young, naive, and could never imagine how this would end up affecting my life. I believed that as long as I told the truth, things would turn out all right. I was very wrong. After my initial statement, describing in detail what happened, my abuser issued a statement in response. She used the sentence, "She never said no to what we chose to do together." While I did say no, in many different ways, this sentence was actually quite validating for me to hear. She clearly didn't understand how consent works, and she admitted that something took place between us. I wish it had ended there.
And it was in Timothy's statement that she said that Melanie asked to have inappropriate relations with her, where Timothy attempted to laugh it off and said that she had a boyfriend, which was a way of her saying no. Melanie would say he doesn't have to know, it's not a big deal. And Timothy would say that it went on for hours, asking me why I didn't want to, that it would be fun. I repeatedly said no, I had to work in the morning, I just wanted to sleep, I was exhausted. I attempted to sleep, but was kept up the entire night by my friend begging me to sleep with her. And that was when Melanie allegedly coerced her into doing inappropriate things with her. She would then begin touching Timothy's arm, making her feel uncomfortable, and all she knew what to do was to giggle. I got increasingly uncomfortable. I started giggling, saying that it tickled. I in no way wanted to make this an inappropriate situation. Can I just do this? Can I touch your arm? Can I touch your boobs? She began bartering with me. And it went on from there, where Melanie eventually gave Timothy oral and then penetrated her with a toy.
I made the mistake of doing an interview with Daily Mail. While being interviewed, they asked for more specific details, like when the incident took place. It'd been around 2 years prior, so I didn't remember the exact date. What I did remember was a picture I took the next day. I went back in my camera roll, found the picture, and told them the day of the incident was the day before. Unfortunately, I was wrong. The picture in my camera roll appeared multiple times. I can't explain why. When the interview came out, her fans went back in her posts to that date to find that we were in different states. If you've never heard my story before, you might at this point wonder, why would that matter? She admitted something between you took place in her statement. I agree, and this is just one of the parts that drives me crazy. After this discovery, she released a second statement, in which she thanks her fans for researching the timeline and analyzing past Instagram posts which reveal my false statements. Unfortunately, this was enough for 99% of her fans to take what she said as truth and deem me a liar. The complete contradiction of her statements meant nothing. The events after this are so much and so overwhelming, it's hard for me to recount. She ended up releasing essentially a diss track about me, with lyrics perpetuating the idea that I lied about all of this for fame. I was a small musician at the time, and after speaking out, gained tens of thousands of followers. While there were some supporters, the majority of the followers were people who actively hated me. I suddenly had thousands of hate accounts dedicated to me, thousands of dislikes and negative comments on all of my music, and completely ridiculous fabricated stories of me being posted online. I really hoped it would die out and people who liked me would stick around and I'd be able to move on with my career, but it never died. Anything I attempted to do was infected with this story. Googling me results in many first-page results calling me a liar. The people who hated me took it upon themselves to ruin every opportunity for me. Partnerships with brands, modeling opportunities, they were all flooded with comments saying I lied about SA. In addition to this, my home address, phone number, and family's phone numbers were all leaked. I became so discouraged with my own music career, I essentially stopped. I started doing SW in an attempt to regain some autonomy, but that was taken from me as well when people who hated me hacked the account. I was just trying to move on. My adult content was being spread and mocked by the people who hated me. Every single one of my social media accounts was hacked, including my email. The only thing they didn't get into was my bank account.
That is a terrifying situation to be in. Just the loan being hacked and everything that you have being taken away from you, that's scary. And from the sounds of it, she couldn't pursue her dream anymore and she had to seek other avenues for income, and that didn't work out either because of hackers.
I was given the classic fuck the haters advice, but until you're bombarded with the amount that I had to endure, you really can't imagine how it would affect you. It was just so much louder than any amount of support I was receiving. As you can imagine, my mental health was and is majorly affected by this situation. And while I wish I was the type of person with the confidence to say fuck the haters and stick it out, I'm just not. I'm sensitive and not self-confident and never have been. And this made it so much worse. It got to the point where I could no longer put up with the abuse. Holding on to this public image was no longer worth the pain, and I deactivated all of my public accounts. In doing this, I also saw this as completely giving up on being a musician. I couldn't put myself through the public scrutiny anymore. So that's where I've been the past couple of years, in private. It was a huge relief to no longer be bombarded with the amount of hate I was receiving every day, but now I'm stuck with the after effects. I imagine every day the life that I could have lived if this all hadn't happened. Would I be the musician I always wanted to be? It's kept me in a complete freeze state. I won't go into too much detail about how much I've been suffering the past couple of years. Frankly, it's embarrassing. I wish I could move on. But I've never wanted things to be over more than I have now.
Frankly, the story is really bad for any survivors that want to come forward talking about their situation. This is literally a survivor's worst nightmare, coming out talking about something that happened to them and then no one believing them, and on top of that, trying to destroy their life.
I've been in partial hospitalization programs and attempted to regain any semblance of confidence and hope for my life, but I can't shake that this is the wrong timeline for me. I didn't do anything wrong. I spoke the truth. If you're familiar with my story, you may have also heard that I admitted to lying, and I can assure you that never happened. There were photoshopped images spread around of a confession that never happened because I have nothing to confess. I never lied. You may have also heard that I accused other celebrities of this, which I can promise you never happened either. There's so many other terrible things that people have made up about me that I'm not going to dissect and defend right now. But I was successfully gaslit into thinking I was a bad person who deserved this. I am so scared to speak out about this again. There's a high possibility that I won't receive any support from this, and people who hate me will target me again, and I go back into hiding. I ask that if you are someone who is under the impression that I lied about this, to please hear me out. Please think about her contradicting statements. Please realize that there's no one on earth who knows what happened that night besides me and her, and even the smallest possibility that I could be telling the truth should be enough for you to not want to risk ruining an innocent person's life in this way. I'm completely exhausted from begging people to believe me for years now. I'm not sure what I'm hoping will come from this. It's gotten to be quite humiliating to beg people to care. But if you haven't heard my story before, thank you for hearing me, and I could really use your help in rewriting the false narrative of who I am and what happened to me.
And while some people still don't believe Timothy, there are also more people I feel like that are leaning towards believing her, with one TikToker having this to say.
If you are defending Melanie Martinez, please watch this. Let's say, just playing the devil's advocate, that Timothy Heller is lying. So we all know what happened a few years ago. She came out with allegations that Melanie Martinez had SA'd her. And the crybabies of the world ruined this girl's life. And I think there was some discrepancies in the story that she told and then a story she told later. Like there were things she said that didn't line up with things she had said prior. So she gets shunned from the internet. People are doxing her, threatening her life. Okay, so that happened, right? We'll just say that she's lying. Okay. So then I think it was yesterday she came back online to kind of tell the story again. Telling this story has ruined her life once already. Why would she come back and lie about it again, tell the story again? She knows how the internet will react. She's not lying. That doesn't make sense. Why would she,
And there's some fans that were younger when this happened that are older now that are able to look at it a little bit more logically and understand exactly what's going on and not just agree with Melanie because they're a fan.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to speak about this, but having been a Melanie Martinez fan since 2014 and quite publicly so, I do think it's important that I speak about it. I watched Timothy's video last night, and it's kind of shaken my view on things. When the original allegations were made in 2017, I was just turning 14. I wasn't in any of the online fandom spaces. I wasn't part of the fandom. I simply liked Melanie Martinez's music. And for a long time, I have believed that those allegations were proven false. Since last night, I have discovered that the allegations were not in fact proven false, and that the evidence and the proof that I had seen was actually faked by people in the fandom. I will no longer be supporting Melanie Martinez because these allegations are very serious, and I can't support somebody that has those allegations against them. Now, obviously, I have a few bits of merch. I've got vinyls and CDs. I even have 2 Melanie Martinez tattoos, and I'm not really sure what I will be doing in terms of all of that yet. But I will no longer be listening to any Melanie Martinez music. I will not be watching the K-12 film. I will no longer be buying anything in relation to Melanie Martinez. And I also want to strongly encourage the fandom to not just blindly support Melanie Martinez and actually take a minute and realize that there is no proof that Melanie Martinez did not do these things. Now, if there was actual solid proof that Melanie Martinez did not do anything, then that's a different story. But as of right now, there is no proof. Melanie Martinez hasn't said anything publicly since 2017, and that statement wasn't really much of anything anyway. So yeah, this is my formal announcement that I am no longer a Melanie Martinez fan and that I am leaving the fandom completely.
But I'm curious what you think, so please let me know down below what you think about this whole situation. It's pretty crazy how people are just attacking Timothy, in my opinion, and hacking her accounts and trying to ruin her life over this when she was just coming out talking about something that allegedly happened. And honestly, it's not good for survivors of any situation that has happened. It makes them not want to come out as well. But like I said, it's important to look at both the accuser and the accused when it comes to these situations. But that doesn't mean you need to be trying to ruin somebody's life. Thank you for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I appreciate you. Thank you again for 10,000 subscribers. That's crazy. There's a lot of new faces in here. If you're new, please say hello down below in the comments. Shout out to my Patreons. Thank you so much for all the support. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.